I want to open up to questions because you guys will cover Agenda 21, pro-life, anything you want to talk about. And I please, everyone here, I am not in any hurry. I have all night. And when I say it, believe it, we'll stay here till I closed Bloomfield last night, tea party at like 1 o'clock in the morning. So
We can't stay here that
or an hour. But I'm just saying, whatever question you have and anything you want to ask, if you want to take a shot at me, I'm ready because I have been to a lot of vetting sessions and I'm prepared. So anybody have questions, just raise your hand, I'll take it. Go ahead.
Is Joe Carrillo's going to debate you?
Joe Carrillo's is a chicken. And I put on my Facebook page. Joe Carrillo's has a lot of reasons not to debate me. Number one is he took money from Solomon Dweck from Operation Big Rig. He took $5,000. Two, he was endorsed by, ready for this? Hudson County Liberal Democrat Rogue a week ago. Guess what happened 3 days after the endorsement? Rogue has been raided by the FBI. Yes. Who, first of all, who would take an endorsement from a liberal Hudson County Democrat? I wouldn't. I'd say, well, it's like, it would be like Jason Morano endorsing me, who I'm friends with Carmen Amato. I'd say, what the hell is he trying to endorse me for during a primary campaign? He was trying to show his supremacy, okay? No, he's afraid to debate because he also borrowed $2.6 billion from a pension fund and put our governor in a position where he had to clean up his mess. And that ain't right. We threw police under the bus, we threw fire people, teachers, people we love, people that are our family members. These people paid into this. This is not welfare. This is not an entitlement. This is real live pension fund, $2.6 billion. And when you don't pay something back, it's stolen. It wasn't under Christie. He borrowed, and this is his quote, Mr. Carrillo's. At the time, it was the right thing to do, and I say to you, Mr. Carrillo's, would you do the same thing with the pension currently, that they want to take the 80-year paid in advance postal workers pension? So you ask me, will he debate me? No, he won't. He will have to if the president's campaign comes here and there's national debates. And when he does, he's not going to be prepared because I will wipe the stage with him. I guarantee it. And I challenge him any day to a debate. I absolutely... He has ditched and dodged the last 3 debates. And there's 2 other candidates running. One is already dropped out. And there's still 1 more. And it's he and I. If it becomes he and I in this campaign, I'm relentless. I have a big picture of a chicken on Facebook. And I'm sending it out every day. And I'm getting enough, support that it looks pretty good. And also, we just received an endorsement from the freeholder candidate in Union County and the councilman of Garwood, and it's starting to build up. And a lot of the money that I'm raising, folks, is from elected officials in Ocean County. So that doesn't say a lot about Mr. Carrillo's. He doesn't have that much support. And you know what my whole strategy has been? Why would I ever try to defy the governor, who's already cut a deal, to have the whole entire 21 counties handed over to Carrillo's? Would you bang your head up against the wall? Instead, I went to all the fine people in the Tea Party and all the fine local organizations that are Republican, and I'm going to win this election of the populace, the people. That's how you win an election, not by party bosses, not by kissing rings. Any other questions?
A societal benefits, that's a pet peeve.
All right, here we go. Let's go. I'll talk to you about that one. Me too.
But that's more or less on a state level. Would you be able to do anything about that?
Absolutely.
Because I feel like they tell me it's not taxed, but then they tell me it's not cherished. So, like, I can't claim it anyway, but you're stealing it from me in every single bill.
I think that the FBI and the Attorney General's office, within about a month after I've been elected, is going to be overburdened by paperwork and cease and desist orders as well as orders from my Senate office. One order will be, the people of New Jersey are paying about $2.35 on their electric bill on the front. It's supposed to be towards lowering your electric bill. What happened was, all the politicians got together and got a bunch of donations from PSE&G. PSE&G cut a deal through Corzine administration that, hey, thank you for the donations. Now we're going to give you, ready, $765 million. Yeah. Now they're trying to dig into your pocket even more from these SRECs that are being created from the solar panels. They want the taxpayers to pay it. I say no. make PSE&G, who's gonna submit their SRECs, the minute this goes up. The minute this goes up, this SREC, the minute the government pays into it, PSE&G is gonna dump all of their units and they're gonna get their credits, just like a stock market, they're gonna bankrupt it anyway. I say that PSE&G should pay back every single New Jersey person for that $765 million by putting it back into that societal benefits fund, period. And that societal benefits fund should be used equally so that everybody has an option.
I don't think it should be this.
I couldn't change that, because I'm not gonna be the governor.
Because it's not only PSCG, it's every single.
I'm talking about how the money was stolen from it. That's, you know, when PSC&G is a 500-page bill, and PSC&G says, well, we'll make sure that all these solar projects are gonna be done by, you know, Joe business. Small little mom and pop. But the rule was is that we'll have a manager there that'll make sure that we make these ready 3 phone calls, and if nobody's there, then they can do it with their unions. And let me tell you something, Obama is running this country by mandates. If you look at what's going on with the whole entire car industry, when he was dealing with the car problem and he bailed out the whole entire car industry, he knew that in his stimulus package, he would have a clause that would say batteries that were X amount of miles, at least 200 miles to the gallon, you get $2 billion. That's what he did. That's called a centralized government. He's running a communist model. And you know what? The Soviet Union did that in Vietnam. They were toppled. So that's why I think Ron Paul has a good point, is that we shouldn't go into Syria because there's no national security or no economical threats there. And I think that we should bomb the poppy fields in Afghanistan so that heroin isn't coming into this country and kids are snorting it these days. And I think that we shouldn't allow Iran to get weapon funding from the poppy fields. That's how they're getting it. Now, how do I know this? Most troops that I speak to that are coming back or even there, they all say, why are we bombing the poppy fields? And I look at them and I say, it's obvious that somebody's protecting it. The Taliban is allowed to keep that poppy field there. You have to be kidding me. It's an easy way to do it. Anybody else?
How long have you been a member of the GOP?
I have been about 2 decades.
Now you and Joe Carrillo are running, right? Who else is running? Ann Little was gonna run, but she has dropped out.
Anna Little is now running for Congress, so she was never really officially a candidate. And you know, when Joe Carrillo's first started in the Senate,
Yes.
I was the vice president of my senior class. And that's pretty deep. He's a career politician.
Well, that was my next point. You've been a businessman and you've never been a politician at all, even at local
Now,
level?
I've been the guy that's delivered
Well,
victories.
for me, that's a plus.
Okay?
I believe there should be more citizen, Congress people and government people. That's part of our problem with our whole system. If more individual people, at the town level, it's that way. The most mayors, they're business people, they're people that work for a living. They're not politicians. So Joe Carrillo is a politician. That's his background, and that's what his main thing is gonna be. I've been here a long time, I've done this and that. But for a private citizen to start out against any politician, it's a great uphill battle. And I hope you can succeed, because I'll take a normal citizen over a regular politician anytime.
And the worst thing that you were saying is that, you know, Joe Carrillo's is a part-time senator. How is he going to be able to go to all these economical committees that he's on, and at the same time run against me for senator for the next 2 months? He's a part-time senator and he gets health care benefits at a Cadillac. I believe that if I win, just so you guys know, I won't take the health benefits and I'll pay with my salary. John Runyon doesn't take his health benefits either. I couldn't look people in the face and take the salary that I'm going to get and not do that. The other thing that upsets me a little bit is why isn't Congress and the Senate on Medicare? That's what they should be on. I will use the bases if possible too. If I don't have to pay for the health insurance, I would rather just use a base. That way I can make sure that the military is getting good benefits. And I will try to push Congress to get Medicare, because right now they get a Cadillac plan, and it's absolutely ridiculous.
And they don't need to have Obama.
And I will also, as probably the first senator in the history, you would probably know better than me, Justin, is there ever a senator who's ever been elected that only served one term and walks out?
Wow.
They don't.
Well, they lost re-election bid.
I'm not gonna run for re-election, so I would probably say that I wouldn't want the pension. And that would be the admirable thing to do. Because if you think about it, it's gonna make me lazy. 6 years you work at a job and you get a pension for the rest of your life? I'm gonna sit with you fine folks after that with a straight face and get up and start yelling and betting? No, you can't do it. So if I was doing this for the money, I wouldn't be running for this office right now because it's not financially beneficial to me. I'm not corrupt, and I'm doing this because I'm sick and tired of the injustices, the inequities, and I just want to make this country better.
You seem to be a person with a plan. So, say you win 6 years, what do you plan to do after that?
I would probably go back to landscaping again, like I do all the time, and then hopefully go back into the energy business, I guess.
No, you wouldn't. You'd run for president.
Well, see, Murphy, that's not fair. If I got, that's the only option. I would never lie publicly. If somebody approached me within that point, and I did that good of a job, remember, I got a lot of work to do. I have made a lot of promises to a lot of people, and things that I'm passionate about, though. This stuff, you can't get up here and act about this stuff. I get aggravated. Okay, I've been to 5 out of 6 of the state plan meetings. I'm sorry, Agenda 21. I mean state plan. I mean Agenda 21. I mean state plan. Okay, and I'm tired of this. I'm tired of dictatorial eminent domain. I'm tired of people telling me what I got to grow in a crop or what food I need to eat, or Michelle Obama telling kids what to eat at the school lunch tables. Come on, this country is better than that. Not everybody, sees Michelle Obama as, the mother of nutrition here. Okay. We don't need to be told what we need to eat. We don't need to be told, the other thing too is, yes, I love aquariums. Yes, I love zoos. And yes, I'm the biggest animal lover on the planet. Yes, I like to burn wood when I'm at a campfire, so I'm not a tree hugger. Bottom line is, there's a lot of weird things that you could even say is that, you know what? We have all this technology where we can move an alligator from one zoo to another, from one aquarium to another, so why the heck can't we move with that same technology a snake to somewhere else so that we can build? We need to survive in this country. If we don't start putting Americans first, human beings first, we're not going to be here much longer. Economical security is becoming and surpassing right now any type of security other than what we have right now. And a lot of people think, national security is so important. Economical security is just as important. And these politicians who are running the printing machines, as they're doing it, there's another guy on the other end from his staff, and they got bags and they're putting all the money in. And it's called inflation.
Wouldn't go hand in hand?
Yeah, it does. And it's quite frankly despicable. And I apologize to every person in here, who is retiring right now, or, who's scared, and I can't complain. I mean, what about kids that are graduating high school, actually college, and they went through a whole college curriculum program, and there's no jobs, and there's no hope, and we're in a depression, basically. What about senior citizens who, right now, they're feeling as if they're an entitlement? No, it's not an entitlement. They worked their whole lives for that. And what happened is Congress, let's tell the truth, Congress and the Senate, they borrowed and borrowed and borrowed, just like Joe Carrillo's borrowed and borrowed and borrowed the pension. Our Senate and our Congress borrowed and borrowed and borrowed all of the senior citizens' Medicare. And look at what Obama did recently, $500 billion out of Obama Menendez care. Where do you think they got the money to fund Obama Menendez care? $500 billion. Yet people focus on a lot of other things. Any other questions? Sorry.
Yeah, you ran for Congress 2 years ago,
Yeah.
briefly, but then I guess you stopped your campaign because you said you were too damn honest on the politics.
There was a couple different reasons.
Okay, but that is what you said though, right?
You got it, yes.
So what's changed between now and then that you're running again?
One, my father, in all due respect, my father died of brain cancer, and my father actually told me one time, that I'm too damn honest to run. And I remember, I'll never forget this, because I was an altar boy for 11 years. And he says, I was. My dad says, Joey, you can never, ever win. He says, you're too honest. And I got upset at first, but I guess it's a good compliment. My dad's an honest man. But I still feel this horrible, negative, repulsive, negative energy that comes from the corruption of politics. And I'm facing it in a different way. I'm seeing this as a calling. I'm seeing this as, I can't run from, what is the inevitable, that we need change. And I would never lie, and the truth is, at the time, and I said it, this is what I said, I love God, I love Jesus Christ. I'm a Boy Scout, and this Mr. Smith ain't going to Washington because I'm too damn honest. And at the time, my father died of brain cancer about a year before. And like any human being, I was weak, and it was tough. But I'm a new man right now, and I know the game that these people play. Actually, what's pretty cool? Is that I'm an insider to the GOP. And at the same time now, my home really is the Tea Party. The Citizens for Freedom group has opened me up to things beyond anything. I used to, when I go to those meetings, and I kid around, but I'm really serious, it's like a venting session. It's almost like therapy. You go there and you're able to talk about issues that are just so frustrating that your average American, he can't take it anymore. And the inequities and the injustices, and how does it feel when you own a company and you can be your best, but at the same time the laws and the way the game is played is all skewed. What's the difference between illegal aliens, the way they play their games, and the way politicians play their games? They're all fixed. They're all rigged games. I really believe that we can take these social injustices and equities, but you know what? I'm also going to need your help. Let's say, right, there's an upset, and I will tell you right now, if I beat Carrillo's, Menendez is a done deal. I'll win this county by 80,000 votes. Christie won it by 60, and I helped deliver that. I can deliver 80 here. I promise you that I will die for you if I have to, because that's why I'm only doing 6 years. Do you know what kind of work has got to go into this? A senator has full reign over all sorts of issues because you get a lot of exposure. I'll go to Tea Party meetings. I want to be around everybody because this is going to be something that is going to be beyond anything you can even imagine. We have so many problems in this country. You know what? Their 15 minutes is up. Listen, Carrillo's, Menendez, I don't see the difference. You have two guys, both took money from Solomon Dweck, the most corrupt person on the earth. They got out of jail to go arrest a bunch of politicians. They both are career politicians. They're both responsible for illegal aliens equally. Freehold is the hub for illegal aliens, and that's where Carrillo's district is. Unemployment, I blame them both. Foreclosures, I blame them both. Revitalization of business failure, I blame them both. Manufacturing, research, technology. So at the end, what is the voter going to have? Yeah, we'll try, maybe, right? And let's say, rah, 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 let's go for Carrillo's. But at the end, I really believe that they're going to pick, unfortunately, they're going to go default with the incumbent, the worst of the two senators. And the truth is if I thought for 1 minute, and I'll be honest with you because you asked a question, if I thought that Carrillo's was a better man, I might have not be running right now. I don't think we have much of a alternative, and I know the issues inside and out, but I'm living them. I'm struggling. I'm not like Mr. Carrillo's. I don't work 25 hours a week as a senator. By law, that's what he does. He's got health benefits. I don't have health benefits. I have 2 businesses, one of which is solar, and I put my whole life savings into it, and I don't take the subsidies, and I don't play with the Ponzi schemes with all these investment deals, and I'm hurting from that. I've invested in this country. I've put my blood and sweat into this country, and legislators like Carrillo's have failed. And that's why I'm running for office, period. Whether he wins the primary or if I win the primary, I'm still going to feel the same. I'm a very hard person to understand because a group like this would, if you're not corrupt and you're selfless and you love God and you're doing things for the right reasons, you don't have anything to worry with me. But if you're not doing things for the right reasons, I don't want to deal with it. And you know what? We have too many politicians that are in there just for themselves. You're gonna be kidding me. By the time I win, let's say I win this primary and become the nominee and I run in the general, there's no money in this, folks. There's no money in being an honest politician. There's no money in throwing Carrillos under the bus about this and that. There's no money in turning around and going after Ritaka. There's no money in doing solar for free like I did for all these towns. And then they take my work and give it to the engineers, and they bill for it. I don't get paid on it. Because I try to save you folks taxpayer money, and it backfires. Oh, he's into solar. Yeah, I'm into solar. I helped more than I hurt. Create a lot of jobs, create a lot of businesses. I work with the unemployment sector. I know how to turn this economy around. And none of these politicians know how to turn the economy around, because I'm part of the problem. I'm part of the problem. I'm not part of the solution. I'm not part of the answer. I am part of a problem that they caused in this country. If we don't face the fact that we're jobless, that we're unemployed, that we're in foreclosures, nobody wants to admit it. This is what they do. They go like this at each other. I'm saying let's take the issues and let's lay it down right and say, we have a problem with employment. We have a problem with foreclosures. I've outlaid to you guys what I want to do. And you're not going to hear any politician take it and be that organized and actually say what they're going to do. They're going to attack each other about issues like, for example, gay marriage. And I'm on record that I think that gays and singles should all get tax breaks. But I don't think that there should be a marriage with gays. And that's the bottom line. I am absolutely against Obama Menendez care. I'm pro-life, and I'm so damn proud of being pro-life that I just can't give any apologies. I think that a man who rapes a woman should get 25 years to life, so that that doesn't become an excuse of why we should have an abortion. I think anybody who rapes a woman and it results in an abortion, that man should be sentenced to death. That's how you get rid of the unborn being murdered. Okay? The other thing is, what about incest? Yes, I've spoken to churches, and I am going to work on this. The churches should talk about incest. Because remember, rape and incest are two of the biggest excuses of why people have abortions. There's issues out there. I'm brought up as a Catholic. I think if Obama ever told Jewish people to eat ham, and that is very ignorant. He did the same thing with the contraception issue to the Catholics. He's ignorant. He doesn't understand the faith. He doesn't understand the roots of the culture of a faith. It has nothing to do with religion. It has to do with respect. It has to do with knowing about a whole entire voting populace who believes in God Almighty, in Jesus Christ, in the Holy Trinity, and does things a certain way. And, you know, when I went to that event, I'm going to be honest with you, it was, for me, I'm a Catholic, and I felt embarrassed almost to, you know, what do you say to people? Hi, how you doing? You know, you start talking about the issue. I was brought up to not talk about sex to begin with my parents. And if you noticed, remember Mitt Romney when this issue first came out? The guy turned red. It was unbelievable. He didn't know what to say. And one other thing I want to say too is that with the presidential race, I did something as one of my first decisions, and I'm proud to say that going back to October, I was in this race 2 months before Anna Little even thought of running, and 4 months before Carrillos has even been in a race, and I've been around the state 3 times before he even announced. I'm not picking any presidential candidate because I want to give you fine folks the ability to vote that primary because I'm confident that you will decide that I shouldn't. So, the same party bosses who decided that Carrillos will get all 21 nominations for all 21 counties, which I didn't resist it. This is going to backfire. And I think that when the presidential races come here, people are going to find out and say, wow, we got a Senate candidate who is staying at it. Why would I ever pick one of those guys running for president when I'm going to have to work with them to unseat Obama? You have to be kidding me. I mean, the people vote for this in June. Why would we want to intervene? Anybody who's willing to beat Obama, I'm willing to support them that's on that line right now. They have strengths, they have weaknesses. Every man and woman has weaknesses and strengths. We'll work with them, but we sure know that Obama doesn't have weaknesses and strengths. He is just a complete failure. And he's a disgrace. He should have been impeached on so many occasions. And the only reason he's even around is because of I,
Agenda 21.
Don't say anything, you know, they say, when they talk to the people when they are running, they say one thing, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. You said a lot of things that you're gonna do this and you're gonna do that. Are you gonna change one to become the senator?
I'll tell you the truth, you speak to 99% of the people that know me, I'll always be Crazy Joe Rogan.
Because I believe.
I never change. I say how I feel.
I believe you. Now, you have all those are the people that are gonna vote for you. Look at them in the eye and tell them, I give you my pledge. Put your hand in your heart and I said, I give God this pledge that I'm not gonna lie, and you are the witnesses. We are.
I would pledge upon God, the reason why I believe that it was a calling to run, is that I'm sick and tired of what you guys are sick and tired of. And the only thing I ask, and this is the truth, is that I'm gonna need a lot of friends if I get elected to this position. People that are gonna keep me whole and spiritual, and at the same time, you know, if you're around the right people, look at the people I hang out with, the Citizens for Freedom group, okay? They're not actually the most friendly to the Republican Party in a good way, and they keep them balanced. And I am proud to be associated with them throughout the state. Yet at the same time, the GOP respects me. You know, I gotta face God Almighty and Jesus Christ, and the reason why I'm running is I believe that this country is in shambles. I think that we're at the end of Rome right now. I think that we've only been a nation for a couple 100 years, and that we're right where we were fighting against the British. We're right around where they were. We're the Tea Party. Listen to the word, the Tea Party. They're having so many parties with our money that we need to have a Tea Party made. You have to, I mean, a real Tea Party. People are just so sick and tired of getting screwed over. And it's like every time you think somebody's going to change, they turn into somebody else. The GOP, you got to realize something. I have a very fine line that I have to go in. If I want to beat Menendez, I have to run as a GOP. And if I want to, and right now, I'm running for senator. Can you imagine this? I elected these freeholders over and over and over again in this county. I've held every part of the line. But at the same time, you know, I'm the first one to expose anything that goes on. And I'm honest. And, you know, I'm a George Gilmore boy on the post. This is what they say. But George Gilmore would never pick me as the nominee because I'm not going to play the game that they play. I'm not going to sell you out. And you know what? You ask me, and I'll answer this question. I could have, if I wanted to, as much influence as I want right now in this county. I have friends that control every single town and the freeholder board. And I didn't approach them for one solar project. I didn't get involved with one. I did it for free, like a sucker. Okay? Because I tried to save taxpayers' money. I do this out of my heart. And you know what? You can't buy that. Okay? And you can't fake that, and that's the way it is. Go ahead.
Can I solar?
Well, I can do the free study for you, and I can do the labor part, but the solar panels, I can't even put them on my own house, so.
This Agenda 21, I heard about it in 2 meetings ago, and since then I've seen it in other areas, and it seems to be, it's catching hold. We hear about it more and more.
Absolutely.
And I mean, this is what Obama wants for, it's actually the UN that's doing it, and they want to take over everything. Why are some of these cities and towns going for it when they know that it's no
But they
good?
don't tell
Well,
them the truth at first.
They're not educated on it, first of all. Anybody who, Lily, you, I don't remember because I don't want to put you on the spot, but you went to one of the state plan meetings, right? One, I think?
Stockton.
You go to some of these state plan meetings and, you know, people look at you like, you know, you're like, I don't know, purple when you say Agenda 21, you know? And,
That's what I'm saying.
but then you get someone like yourself and, wow, what's Agenda 21? And you educate them a little bit on it.
Right, but they don't listen, because a lot of the people, they don't want to hear anything.
Do you know what my suggestion, the best way to go at Agenda 21? And this is just a state thing that I've done to educate people right away. You say to them, the reason why the UN, first of all, began was after World War II, a transition, so that the communists could communicate with the United States. It was just a part-time thing. That's it. It was a temporary solution. What we need to do is we need to transition out of the UN all our funds. But what I would do immediately is abolish Agenda 21. And there's no doubt about it. They want to bring people into this country and allow them to have weapons on our sovereign land when people like Rullo said a C- with allowing the Second Amendment. Do you think that they're going to have any problems with that anymore? Go ahead.
Agenda 21 has been here since the 60s and 70s. It went under another name called Master Plan.
Called
And
what?
then because people caught on to the problems with it, the control through the UN, then they changed. See, the evil is like a chameleon. It changes colors. As people realize what's going on, they come out disguised as something else.
It's eminent, I call it dictatorial, eminent domain. That's what it is.
Sure. This February, you were at the meeting, Marilyn and I was there. The state master plan is, I'm gonna be bringing up at a township meeting soon. I'm gonna be talking to people on the council about this. A lot of you missed that. I talked about it once a meeting before, but it's very important because it ties right into what Joe knows and what he will fight against. When you study the state master plan, and Vivian talked about this last meeting a little bit, it's full of Agenda 21. We had most of you missed it. We had a meeting in Toms River. We had a man there from another Tea Party that knows his stuff, explaining some of the things, certain paragraphs. If you don't understand that, if you don't know what Agenda 21 is and understand it, how can you go to your towns? How can you go to your congressman? How can you go to your governor? You have to call Christie and you have to be able to say, I disagree with the new state master plan. The new state master plan is full of Agenda 21 speak, and here is one example. And know that paragraph, and tell your governor, tell your Congress, your local senator, and tell your state senator, I know this master plan is not good for the state of New Jersey. If you were at that meeting, there was example after example of how they trick you. I can't come up with an example right off the top of my head, but I will get that master plan. We had it, and I didn't get a copy of it. But every day that you live, the state and the legislators are working on things to your detriment. And this Agenda 21 is insidious. It's as Vivian says, it's almost like sin in our society from before there was America. Agenda 21 is the same thing. It's the political sin, and it's in your country, and you have to recognize it to be able to fight.
Absolutely, Don. Anyone else?
Question with a relevant issue today is the healthcare. That's what everyone's been looking at. What is it in the healthcare, aside from, say, the mandate? What else is there that you would would you get rid of the whole law? That's, I guess, what I'm getting to. Or would you keep certain parts, like keeping, young people on until 26, or what would you do if you were in the Senate?
I want to ask the audience, does anybody remember what we really, truly wanted? One big issue before this all began. A sub-issue, just so small that, I want to see if anybody can answer the question.
How many pages is that thing anyway?
What?
Thousands?
2,700.
Up across the country for competition for the insurance?
To have interstate
Yeah, see.
I thought it was affordable.
It was pre-existing conditions is what everybody in this country wanted to address. And what Obama did is he merged it with this communistic agenda of forcing small businesses to close and Catholic organizations to allow abortions and sterilizations and out-of-control fees that are going to be attached on transactions. Home sales are going to be taxed with this. Bankrupting even more Medicare. this isn't about so much, and as a lot of the justices are now saying, this is not so much about anything other than, this has never been done before, it's unconstitutional. And they're gonna find out that it's not constitutional.
You get back to the pre-existing condition, just like having a car accident and then taking out insurance. That's, you know.
But that's what was supposed to be discussed. In other words, you know, why would you wanna have insurance if it's not gonna cover something that's forever, let's say? For example, if you have diabetes, why would you take out insurance to begin, right? I mean, you're not gonna cover that, so you're gonna pay for a premium plus that. I'm just saying, this is why, this was the issue. It had nothing to do with insurance. It was, the people never said, we want insurance. He incorporated this with that, and then also, for students that are 26, this is all, everybody knows how to sell a product, right? Has anybody ever sold? There's features and benefits. These are the features and benefits that he incorporated into this plan, but it's like selling a Maserati and saying that it's got FM stereo. I mean, it doesn't make sense. The plan is just so riddled with offense to people that are law-abiding, constitutional people, people that you say don't separate church and state, yet they're forcing Catholics who, by the way, hire. This is, I don't know if anybody is really following as much this part, but you know, when they were hired at EWTN, let's say, or at these Catholic schools, they knew damn well they weren't going to get contraceptive coverage. So it's not like they're being forceful towards these people. Aaron Obama comes and says, all right, I'm going to give you guys all contraceptives now. People are like, what are you talking about? You know, that's not why we took this job. And the other problem is going to be is that, well, now that the churches don't have to pay for it, they're going to now make us, the taxpayers, fund the abortions and the contraceptives and the sterilizations. And, you know, Romney Care, unfortunately, covered a lot of this. And, you know, it's a big issue. And I supported Romney outright in 2008 when he went against the establishment, when Obamacare wasn't really that big of an issue back then because it didn't exist. And I remember, you know, a guy that was a lot like myself, fighting against an establishment, and he was quite attractive at that point politically. And, you know, I look at now and I would never endorse him over the other three candidates. Never. I mean, the bottom line is I would be just as proud to stand by Ron Paul. I would be just as proud to stand next to Rick Santorum or Gingrich. And, you know, he hasn't earned enough respect to me to not be vetted by the people. And that's what I've become addicted to, becoming vetted. There's not a question that you guys can ask that I wouldn't answer. You know, and that's what we need in candidates. If we don't have that, what are we all but, we're just a bunch of zombies that are going to go out and vote. And, you know, right now, I don't see Rullo as being endorsed by 21 counties. I see, you know, one county chairman in each town was told to do something, and they decided to do it. And I didn't even get calls from just about any of them. I was fairly treated in Ocean County. I was able to even speak. And I, you know, didn't have a nomination, so therefore I got to speak. Union County treated me with the utmost respect. The chairman there is a gentleman. Middlesex County, Senator Thompson, great guy. I got to speak there too. But you know, would I go to Monmouth? I mean, Brady, should I bang my head up against this table right now? I didn't do it to 19 counties because I was too busy going to every Tea Party in New Jersey. So if I could win 65, 70% of the Tea Party vote throughout the state, if I could split the Republican Party, I'm going to win. And that's what I'm hoping. If I could educate every police officer, teacher, fireman to understand it, tax and spend liberal, and that's what Rullo is, unfortunately, is he's worked with these Democrats, and he did that pension scandal, and that is a scandal. These people put $2.6 billion into that fund, and that fund has never been paid back. These teachers and firemen, I mean, these are people, guys, if you were robbed or raped or your house was burning down, these are people that protect you. Their pensions were taken, and Rullo's did it. And he is the reason why. And do we want that in Washington? No. And if I can bring those teachers out, if I could Bring them back. Let's bring them back home. Let's give them a place to come. And let them know that, you know what, we don't think you're bad. We just want some changes because we have a great governor who is willing to hit head on the issues. Okay, like reforms. But it's not Christie's fault because his best friend, who he fixed up with his wife, borrowed money in 2007 and said that at the right time it was the right thing to do. Because it's never the right thing to do borrowing $2.6 billion. It's reckless behavior, and it's somebody that you're gonna bring into Washington and he's gonna borrow even more. He's never gonna change. You know, you could look back at my record and I have a solid record of being a pain in the neck and absolutely persistent at going after politicians who are corrupt. And politicians and calling them out for anything that they do wrong. And I'm proud to say that. So any other questions too? That's it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
You guys are easy on me, so I love it.